Hi, I'm Calvin, and I'd like to share a little bit about myself with you today. Where I've been, where I am, and where I see myself going. To get straight to the point, I want to work in the production of video games and video game technologies as a career. Well, some of the games I've been playing recently include Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls, Spiritfarer, which is one of my new favorite games, and A Hat in Time. I've always loved playing games ever since I was a kid. I'd play any kind of game. Field game, card game, board game, and of course, video games. It didn't really click in my head that I could create those the same way I had made my own versions of, say, Kickball, or my modifications of favorite board games, or creating imaginary role-playing worlds to hang out in. My passion at the time was theater. But it wasn't until about 3 years into my undergrad that I kind of realized, hey, I could make video games. And that, combined with some of the realities of being a professional performer, led me to take a year off from school, where I did some soul searching and worked part-time. After a year, I really said to myself, yeah, I can do this. I want to do this. So I went back to school, and a few years later, I got my Bachelor's of Science in Software Development. While in the penultimate year of my software development undergrad, I had the opportunity to work with a local indie game studio called Eager Games. While at Eager, I was deeply involved in the development of early stages of their first game, Zed. I got a chance to wear many hats at Eager, and I learned everything from game design, level design, programming in Unreal Engine 4, building levels in Unreal Engine, reducing the polygon counts on 3D models, and even helping to plan and eventually advertise and execute on our Kickstarter fundraiser, which raised over $50,000. I think my greatest achievement, though, and the one I'm most proud of, is having designed, programmed, and built all of the gameplay for our demo, which we shared at PAX East, and also that we shared for download on our Kickstarter page during and shortly after the campaign. It was really buggy, and it was kind of broken, and I had crammed 3 days and 3 nights to get it finished, but I was so proud. People were finally playing it, and it was amazing. I can't really find the words to share how that felt. Despite a busy schedule split between working at Eager and being at school full-time, I still found opportunities to squeeze in even more game projects. One that I can think of specifically was in my last year of college, where, as part of a project management course, I worked with 2 teammates to create a Pong clone in the Unreal Engine 4 called JM Pong. It was a scrappy little game, and it wasn't going to blow anybody's minds, but blowing people's minds wasn't really the point. The point was the project. And I learned a lot about managing a team, about driving a Scrum project to its conclusion, and most importantly, I had the experience of walking through every phase of developing a game. I served as both project manager and Scrum master, so my responsibilities included, but were not limited to, creating project documentation, creating and prioritizing tasks, updating our Kanban board, creating time estimates and cost estimates, hosting daily stand-up meetings, and helping out really anywhere the team needed me. Eventually, in the last semester of college, I got a job offer from Microsoft as a support engineer. Deciding to leave Eager was one of the hardest things I had to do, and honestly at the time, I knew it was the right decision. I'm really happy to say, however, that Eager did eventually release Zed, and you can find it now on Steam and GOG. Even though the final product was a lot different from what I had been working on in those early days, I was really excited to see something I had worked on out in the wild, and to see that product that had been crafted with love finally being released. When I'm not working as a support engineer or helping my colleagues discover the joy of gaming through charity gaming events, I like to work on games in my personal time. There are a few personal projects I've worked on in the past, so I'd like to share them with you. Dagon is a text adventure game based on the H.P. Lovecraft story of the same name. I worked on this one over a break. I had about 3 weeks off from work, and I spent that time diving deep into the world of Dagon. It was really fun for me to do historical research about the time period to get a better understanding of where H.P. Lovecraft was coming from when he wrote this story. I spent a lot of time designing different puzzles that may or may not fit well into the world, and I had to pace the story out because obviously something you play is a little different than something you read. Ultimately, though, it's still all on pen and paper, and I really hope one day to be able to build it out into a full video game. Bang Bang Clone. Now, this is just a concept that I made over a few weekends. It's based on one of my favorite childhood video games, which is this game called Bang Bang, which was part of the Windows 3.1 game pack. It essentially is two cannons sitting on either side of a hill where they're shooting cannons at one another. You have to gauge the correct angle, the correct force, and also keep in mind the wind to make sure that your cannonball lands in the right spot. I built mine using Unity and a set of three-dimensional blocks just to get the concept of destroying those objects in order to defeat the other player. Blustery Day. Now, this is one of my favorites. Blustery Day is a side-scrolling platformer with one-button control. The idea being you play as an umbrella trying to make its way home from the office where it has been sadly left behind. Your one button allows you to open and close the umbrella, which, when opened, catches the wind and floats along a current of air. The objective is to time opening and closing the umbrella in just the right way so you can float to your destination, avoiding any obstacles along the way. I also have a personal website that I built using Hexo and host on Azure, where I talk about video games. I like to talk about the games I've played, and I like to talk about specific elements of their design. What I've realized over the years, especially reflecting on my past for this video, is that my passion for creating games comes from a desire to create experiences. It was the same in theater. Creating an experience for people to be a part of, to really dive into, to have a range of emotions that leave a lifelong impact. I just happen to think that video games are the best way to connect with people on a deep level. I don't think I mentioned this before, but video games have gotten me through some of the toughest parts of my life. They've helped me to think more creatively, to be more logical, and to push through when things are really challenging. I really believe in the power of video games, and I want to help create those experiences. That's how I plan on paying it forward. I want to be able to give people the kind of impactful, lifelong, emotional experiences that I've had myself playing video games. You've made it to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to learn a little bit about me, and I hope that you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it.